We're live. To you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you. Good night. Good night. Good night to our Belizean public, both at home and abroad. Welcome to our 166th edition of Belizean Affairs. Thanks to those who support us, who view us by the many means that we put out there, and we give them thanks and continue to support us. And we should be joined shortly by Gregory Brackett, who I have sitting with me is Mr. Leonard Brackett, the Friday night chairman. Tonight I am the Wednesday night chairman. So tonight we have a very good lineup. Things that you hear from us, things that the other media house does not discuss and let the public know because they dissect. Put in little pieces that they want and take out little pieces that they want and let it look good. But from us, you get it live, raw, and you could take it any way you want to take it. So, on that note, as usual, we start our program with a prayer and then a reading. I'll ask Mr. Leonard Brackett to lead us in prayer and then also in a reading. Go ahead, Leonard. Thank you, please.
Okay, and so I'll just bow my head for a little bit. Divine loving Father, once again we come before thy presence, asking that thou may accept our humble expression of gratitude and humility, and that thou mayest continue to bless us, strengthen us, give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Help us that we may present a program tonight that may be worthy of our people's attention. Give us the words to speak, give us the heart to sustain this endeavor. Please continue to guide and protect and bless our family members, each and every one of them, as if they were being mentioned by name and number. Thou knowest our heart, our desires, and even our most secret thoughts, loving Father. We pray that thou mayest bless this country of the United States, its people and leadership. We pray that thou mayest bless our country of Belize, its people and its leadership, and that thou will be merciful unto the rest of humanity as well. Please grant those people who have need of food and clothes and shelter some reprieve. Please have mercy upon those people who are in harm's way, whether by man-made wars, by natural disasters from hurricane, tornadoes, earthquakes, and all manner of destructiveness. Please continue to be with us now and always for Christ's sake. We praise and mercies. Amen.
Thank you. And lead us in reading
I'll do the
there,
reading.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank
I'll
you.
do the reading. Um, the reading for tonight will come from Proverbs chapter 7, starting at verse 1. Reads as follows: My son, keep my words and lay upon my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eyes. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the tables of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, Thou art my sister, and call understanding thy king's woman. And that's the end of the reading for tonight, Sir Chairman.
Thank you, Leonard,
You're welcome, sir.
for that reading. My people, Leonard, there's a lot going on in our country, and we still have to give the Almighty thanks and praise for saving us from that horrific hurricane that was destined to
Sir.
hit Belize. And it just, like Leonard, like previous hurricanes, just tapered off. But this one was already a category 5 and was a massive hurricane. So just imagine, no? So I call on the nation, and the country in a whole and the diaspora to, pray, continue to pray and, ask for forgiveness and, for for God to continue to enlighten us and keep us as a godly nation, right? Because Leonard, we are slipping away, and we just hope and pray that like the next one, the next one, does not really destroy this country. So that's why previously I've been calling on the leaders to, at least when they sit in the house, to take a minute or 2 minutes to thank God, give Him praise. But do they do that? No, they are business as usual, right? Inflict pain on the nation and people, fleecing. The corruption never stops, right? So I still hope and pray that you know I've always says for them to turn from their wicked ways, because you and I know that I won't say all of them, but most of those guys are very wicked, plain to see the things that they do to people, the people who just don't vote for them, right? The next day you can't see them. You go and knock at their door, and when the door open, don't walk through the back door. Don't go and left you, right? They need to turn from their wicked ways, man, and start to do right by people, people and nation. And I call on the diaspora. I continue call on the diaspora to hold these jackals, like you call them, Leonard, and I call them the same thing too. They are nothing but jackals and hyenas, right? Only out to see what they can get to get fat and feed their ills, right? And support corruption. Both parties, past and present government, do it. UDP and PUP, same thing. Have our nation and people stagnant, right? And as you know now, Leonard, we are in a by-election mode on the 17th for PG, right? And I hope that the nation is seeing the amount of money and the government resource. It's not the people's resource, not the UDP or PUP resource, the people, taxpayers' money. The last count I see an item there for $175,000 to elect Mr. Martinez, the born Honduranian, that they want to stuff down the throat of my people. Because I was born in the south, deep south. So that really upsets me. You have three other band Belizean, band down at the south, right? And so sadly, right, the system have it like, when we vote for who we put there, either the UDP or the PUP in power. So when we vote for that man, Mr. Martinez, although he's not banned in this country, right? And he whole year still $75 here, still $50 here, but vote for that man because that's the man we want. Not what the people want. They need to stop that. And I hope that the people of the South, right? My hometown, I hope that when my neighbor Stringberry, I just hope that they take heed, right? And after they get elected, as usual, the South has been forgotten. Always, right? So, like we have been talking about the issues that directly affect our people and nation for some time now. We have been saying that the crime situation in this country is at an all-time high, but yet you hear different from the leaders, different that they have crime under control, right? But still in the past, state of emergency SOEs, right? But they have it under control, right? So who do you believe and what do you believe from these guys, right? The gang violence. We see a lot of criminal gangs in our country, namely the MS-13 from Salvador. They're right in a Belmopan, in the capital, Leonard, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Kampal came a few months ago and says, yeah, he discovered that they are there, but they're there
They
before
don't
now,
deal with them though. They don't try to
right?
deal with them.
Yeah. So, we have the MS-13, very deadly gang. We have the cartels in the north, but you don't hear that, right? You hear it there as far as Chetomal. But yet, Leonard, the prime minister had gotten over $1 million+ to fight the cartel in the north a few months back, right? Infiltrating, right? And what had happened on that? What happened?
I hear nothing.
Okay, and you see what happened the other day, right? Not too long ago, a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Up in Cairo.
So the drug cartels are here, right, in the north. We have a drug war, but here, and not only weed, Leonard, all kind of drugs you could talk about the coming of this country by the tons, right? Not only weed. And now, more than ever, we have seen serious criminals in Belize from Guatemala and Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua. And what past and present government does, they do amnesty, give them citizenship, Leonard, right? And now the prime minister says that the churches, going to the churches again lately, like a couple days ago, he said the churches, you don't know why the churches, they block the way of legalization of marijuana, the marijuana bill. You don't know why then they do that. The churches, they call backstabbing the church, right? But I tell you what he says, well, you know what? If we legalize weed, right? And that guy know what he talk about, because he know how he came up, how he know his lifestyle back then,
You know where the money came from.
right? For those who do not know, and I say it publicly again, I always say it, because I was part of the system then. His father, this prime minister father, was arrested in the mid 80s as a serving minister in this country under the People's United Party in Miami for drug trafficking. You could like it, PUP or UDP or whoever P or whatever like it. You could take me to court and check the stats. Truth. Arrested, convicted, served time in the US, okay, for drug trafficking. So now you have the prime minister now innocently he want to legalize marijuana. The you laugh at her, right? I just say it but sarcastically, but you could make what you want out of it.
Mr. Wade, can I add
Yes, sir.
one little statement to what you just said?
Yes,
You
sir.
know why I'm laughing?
Yes, sir.
Because the head lawman want to legalize the illegal drugs. What does that tell anybody?
You see what I'm telling you, my brother? You see what I'm telling you? So, like I always say, we don't know like the other news media houses, and this are particular for the young Belizean, long born Belizean who don't know about these things, Leonard. They could do the research too, because these things are public knowledge, right? I'm not talk Woody Wade don't talk nothing new. Public knowledge, right? Then we see again a country in election mode. Like I just said, what's going on in the by-election in PG. All the energy and priority is getting Mr. Osborne, that's his name,
Yes, sir.
Leonard Osborne Martinez, a born, uh, where he from again, Leonard?
He said to be from Honduras.
Honduras, yeah, a born Honduranian, right?
It is said.
No, but he said it publicly. Yeah, he said it. The individual said it, right? He was born in Honduras, right? We see the Portugal War. You see where their
uh,
priority is at?
uh,
We see the role that Mr. Ashcroft, the money man, the money king, plays in this country. I not gone no way. Not too long ago, the amount of millions he got from the taxpayers, Johnny Briseno just say, well, hold on one day. The first day he got $76 million. Hold on, Mr. Lord Ashcroft. This is for you. You may the sue and under the UDP. But we are the sitting government now, so we ain't just pay you. No one care the court. No, we're not going to court with you. Hold on $76 million. And thereafter, what he did with the poor, the black stevedores, them, where unload these ships. The court had a word that he paid $4.8 million to the stevedores. What did he do? He worked a deal out with Briseno, with the prime minister of this country, and they settled that from $4.8 million to $1.5 or $1.3 million, Leonard. What a shame.
in chance them
So,
people.
Chancey. And the poorly black people again, hard-working black man, accept that, because why, Leonard, they
Hold
need.
on, no chance, Mr. Hold on, no chance, Mr. Ashcroft like that.
Exactly. Right? And then the guy, Brisenio, had a gall of guts to come and say he worked out a good deal where the country profit. Right? And he made a good deal for the stevedores. Man, I swear, we see the laws they pass, and in the end, who suffers and who profits? The poor Belizean people sure no profit from the laws that they pass, the draconian laws, that only certain people, right? And where is Uncut? When the man made the campaign when he was in the opposition, Leonard, he said, the first 100 days, elect me, and the first 100 days I will pass Uncut. How much years we now? 3 years. 4. And Uncut not pass it. We see how they treat the people, right? In time of disaster, Leonard. I continue to speak about this because June to November, always when come, hurricane season, always when there, we always when have disasters. And sadly, how these people work. If the UDP is in power when we have a disaster, only if you're a UDP you get the help. If the PUP in power when we have a disaster in this country, we see it the last time, only the PUP voters or some who stuck up behind them and mingle with them will get the help. The ones them who directly need the help, they do not get it, especially if they are a UDP, right? Which is so sad. And not only UDP or PUP pay taxes, right? And the help doesn't come for only our UDP or PUP. No, it comes for the people that have been affected, right? The people that have been affected. Never say the PUP people or the UDP people, but those kind of crap got to stop, Leonard, right? Got to stop, right? So, where is UNCAC, right? And we see how they treat the people in times of disaster who needs the help, right? Now we see how they use our government department for their own political mischief. Why I say that? You see the last time what the Prime Minister did in Orange Walk? He took the lands department, he took the vital statistic from Belmopan, the lands department from Belmopan, the vital statistic office, the social security office, the DFC, and all the other government, the immigration, all the government institution took it to Orange Walk because there was going to be an election, Leonard.
Uh-huh.
So he wanted to buy the people by having immigration right there, give them their papers one time, and once they get in papers, they'll be able to vote and at the same time, they get land too, right? When you have, and at the same time, they get a social security, they get a passport, and they get all the works. When you have banned Belizean, go sit down at the damn vital statistic office to get a birth paper for days, sometimes months, right? Come on from PG all about, they look for their birth paper, can't get it. These people got it in one day, right? They call that it was an amnesty, right? Damn, why can't they take that to PG? Why can't they take that to Stan Creek, Orange Walk, Corozal, Cayo, all those service?
I'm so weird.
Yes, sir.
And people in cry when enough of the people never show up. We're gonna take their amnesty.
You
They
see?
were crying because they wanted
You see?
money. They had to be successful in getting enough people, and enough people never consult them. They cry because they
And
want
why,
money.
Leonard?
Why?
Just because there was an election coming up and the PUP want to get the upper hand, right?
Could we go back to Mr. The man from PG? I want to read the thing about him.
Oh, you want
The
to do that now?
Constitution. Huh?
You want to do that now?
If you don't mind.
All right, go ahead. Go
Just
ahead.
go,
Yes,
make a
that
comment back again
situation
on
in
it, refresh your
PG.
comment on it, so I
Yes,
could
that
come in.
situation in PG, which is this government is forcing down, this PUP government is forcing down the churches, like when the baby born and then again had liver oil, Leonard, and you see how then they force down that spoon down in throat, right? That is what this government is doing to the people. Exactly what they are doing to the people of PG with this guy, Mr. Martinez. This
Violating the
ban
Constitution.
Honduranian,
Contrary
right?
to the Constitution.
Contrary to our constitution.
Let me read it for you, Mr. Wayne.
Go ahead, read
Come
it.
up with it.
Read it, Leonard.
Section 29. Let me give the full reference, no?
Yes, sir.
Constitution of Belize, Cap 4, Part 3, Section 29, and Subsection 3. Which was revised as the 14th item of 1985.
1985.
The Constitution of Belize. 4 years after independence. It reads as follows. No person shall be entitled under the provisions of this part, that is Part 3 of the Constitution, to be a citizen of Belize or be granted citizenship of Belize, much less allowed to run for the House of Representatives or become a minister in high position in government.
Exactly.
But these jackals don't care. They're trying to force that down with throat. They're going to do what they want and to hell with the Constitution.
Exactly.
They're rogue.
Very rogue.
They don't abide by the Constitution. They swore to the Constitution and that they were going to abide by the Constitution in order for them to get the governance power. When they went to Governor General to get ascension for the management and leadership of the government.
And both government, Leonard. Both government.
Reading. Just a second. No person shall be entitled under the provisions of this part, which is Part 3, to be a citizen of Belize or be granted citizenship of Belize if such a person shows any allegiance to or is a citizen of a country which does not recognize the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Belize.
There you go.
Now, all the while we have been saying that applies to Guatemalans, specifically because Guatemalans, their country is claiming our country outright and have been bellicose to us for decades now, harassing and doing all kind of stuff to our policemen and our soldiers or BDF and our guards that protect the Chiquibulla and all those other places, and shooting at them, in one instance killing one of them, taking over the whole of our Sastoon Island and all part of the river as well. Now our learned, unelected former Minister of Foreign Affairs I'll call his name, by the way, because I just love to let people know exactly who I'm talking about so they don't misconstrue or misunderstand what I'm trying to say, because the facts are the facts,
Yeah.
and I like to talk contextually. He was unelected. He was granted the privilege to become a senator and the lead senator of all government business in the Senate, by the way, which meant that he was more powerful than any other senator. Besides that, he was granted the opportunity to become part of the cabinet and given a portfolio that included many, many government departments. Okay? So he became a powerful, unelected cabinet member. I
Exactly.
would venture to say he was probably the second most powerful cabinet member, as a matter of fact, even though he was not elected.
He's a powerful man in this
He
country,
turned
Leonard.
around,
But
he turned around and complained that Belizeans, he couldn't tell Belizeans what was happening at the ICJ, and that Belizeans shouldn't be taking jobs from the Taiwanese and or the Canadians then, that he was complaining to them about that. And he turned around and granted documentations for Guatemalans whom our constitution said, as I just read just now, are not entitled to that privilege. And he also turned around and advised the Prime Minister and Cabinet to let him go to the Senate and demand of the Senate that the Senate acquiesce and agree to let them take Honduras to the ICJ along with Guatemala, who was taking us to the ICJ. That he wanted the Guatemalans then to join, I mean the
Honduranians.
Honduranians to join the craziness that was going on at the ICJ against us, as if we didn't have enough problems with the Guatemalans already.
Uh, yeah.
So by him putting into effect that motion, Honduras then, by virtue of their previous claim that they had on their books against us, falls into the same category as this situation here.
Exactly.
That no Honduranian should be able to be granted citizenship
Exactly.
because
Thank
they're a
you.
bellicose nation who is claiming part of our patrimony and our country.
Thank you for clearing that up,
And
Leonard.
that they should not be given any
Thank
opportunity to be running in a general
thank
election,
you.
to become ministers and become, you know,
Thank you.
officers in high position.
Thank you for
Why is
finishing.
the Prime Minister forcing that down for each other as if he don't know better?
Thank you. Then let me finish up here, Leonard,
Go
right?
ahead,
And then
sir. Go ahead. Yeah,
thank you for departing that knowledge.
thank you
And I
for
hope
letting me,
that
giving me
this
the
is
privilege to read it, to contextualize it exactly as
especially
the
Leonard,
Constitution
thank
says.
you, especially for what is going on down south as we speak, right? Especially, and Leonard, while we're on that little item there and you just read it, it breaks my heart, Leonard, to see my country, men and women down there, encourages it, right? That's what really hurts me.
They're enabling
They enabling that kind of corruption, right? Instead of they try to support of their very own. These gentlemen born and grow up PG. They know the lives of the people. They know the hardship. They know the day-to-day living. They know what these people are going through. This man, Mr. Martinez, no, he lived there. No, he lived there. But that's the person that
the man, uh, Mr. Martinez is said to be
so
registered
sad.
in the in the
So
Caribbean Shores
Caribbean
division of
shores there.
Belize City. He lives in Belize City, and he's registered
And they
there to
want to
vote.
go support running PG, right? Which is should not be at all, right? So I blame Leonard. I blame my country people. I blame them, right? Whatever the outcome, and it's so sad that the reason why
But
they do
matters
it,
should be
Leonard,
challenged. It should be
is just
challenged.
for a little promise, a little $50, and a little pat on the back, and a little picture taken with Briseño, a little picture take with Mr. Osborne Martinez, only $100, and come and vote for me. That is all what it is, Leonard, right? It's a repetitious cycle,
Mr. Chairman,
Repetitious.
Mr.
Because in the
Chairman.
UDP, you have the Guatemala, ban Guatemalan in Orange Walk, Mr. Grijalva. Ban Guatemalan.
Uh-huh.
He born in a country that does not respect Belize's independence and the sovereignty of this nation. They are at war with us. Look what they're doing with us in the Sarstoon.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go down in the Sarstoon for your own river. Where over that side says Guatemala, over this side. No, then they take the whole thing. Look what they are. Look what 3 or 4 times the mayhem down in PG there, Leonard, and yet
Mm-hmm.
my people know the land boy. Yet my people know the see where they happen, right? And now a continuous cycle, Leonard, because that not the stop, right?
But pretty soon they
So
not need the Belizeans to vote for them anymore because then they bring in truckloads and boatloads of people from
exactly,
outside and giving them the rights of citizenship and voting power. And
and
they
they
don't
all
need to
know that,
really vote
Leonard.
anymore, which is part of what they're
I
calling
could
the
tell
new
you,
identity.
Leonard, I'll share with you, and whoever else Belizean, both at home and abroad, want to know what happened to me. When I ran in Fokaya South in 1996 in a convention with the late Agopino Kawich,
Mm-hmm.
he told me, Brother Rudy, you could do all your halabaloo with the black people, and the black village. He said, once the aliens then come out for me, the non-banned Belizean, he said, I don't care because I don't need the black people for vote for me. That's what that man told me. I
Because
swear, as there's a God
they
above,
outnumber us already.
right? I think I told you that
It's
already
by
before,
design. It's not accidental.
right? It's by design. And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing is happening now. We see it, they just legalize. Oh, they say 90,000, but it's more than that, right? 90,000, including MS-13 and all the other gangs and all the cartels and all the Guatemalans and Salvadorians and, from other countries,
Mm-hmm.
right? These are the people that this PUP will
The
depend
new
on
identity.
to vote for them, right? So that's why they do all the mayhem in this country, because when the time comes for election, a general election to declare who will govern this country, they got these people and don't give them the Belizean citizenship. And I tell you what they do. When they go and get swearing and get their passport and the citizenship paper, they say, you see this paper what they give you? Remember that the PUP give you this. So you have you hear the word? You have to vote for it. That's what I tell them. I know what to tell you. I was in meetings and I know what goes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then they don't know that this 90,000 where they give citizenship and come on, I don't know all 90 of them will live by the time election come around. But whoever didn't die will vote for PUP, right? But
That's part of the game.
like I say, uh, who are the ones that has easy access in this
Uh,
country? Sure, not the
I
band
see Greg in the
Belizean,
background, but he's on mute.
right? Sure, not the band Belizean have easy access. Like I just told you, what this Decennial administration did on that last election when they
Uh-huh.
care all the government agencies in Orijua, right? When they not do that for the regular Belizean here, right? So, and sadly, our unions are doing the right thing, Leonard. We have unions in this country, but they do the right thing. They're all compromised because you had a meeting where the union people ain't got Leonard, the head of the union. You know
Mm-hmm.
what they go lock up in a little room and then do, right? Yes. Then compromise. They are easily bought out, right? But they said then they lobby for the Belizean people and for the supporters, which is a damn lie, right? That's why we are how we are in this country, right? And sadly, Leonard, I could say they are compromised. And sadly, where is balance in the Senate? You see any balance in the Senate? We should have balance in us, Leonard, but we don't have that. You see, when the Senate have their meeting, they are all like, say, follow the leader. It shouldn't be that way, but none of them oppose. They oppose, but under their tongue. They're not forceful. And look what happened when they go vote, Leonard. After their meeting, when they go vote for whatever measures they put forward, they favor the government. They all favor the government, right? So why does the taxpayers keep paying these people? Why? To do what? They are all the same, in my humble opinion, right? Where is Oceania referendum? I want to, when we hear that, remember they say Panelists thing with the head lawman when he say, oh, then they work on it,
They're
right? Then they
turning
work
around.
on it, and we should have an answer pretty soon. That they flush that, and that a
It's gone on
whole
the toilet long time.
the amount of signatures that these people went and got for that referendum, that went down the sewer, right?
Mhm.
Waste of time, energy, and money, and all by the works of this government, right? We see what the UDP did to get us to the ICJ, right? We see how the bastardization of our constitution by this government, and now we are awaiting the result by the reform by the Constitution Reform Committee, and on the decision by the now PUP government, and what
But Mr. Chairman,
will be the will of the day.
they haven't finished educating the people yet.
Well,
So what question are they going to be asking the people? Or what questions
uh,
should they be able to ask the people
exactly.
with what they
So
haven't told them to
we
educate
want
them on?
we are waiting when they will come, Leonard, and say, you know what? This is what we will take out from our constitution, and then this is what we will put in, or this is what we are going to do with our constitution. We are going to flush it, get rid of it, right?
Hmm.
And then they will say, well, like, this will be our new constitution, and they will read it to the nation, our new law of the land. As that is exactly what will happen, right? And hopefully sooner rather than later, right? And I say by before the next general election, they will, if not before, right after, if they win, they will break that news to the Belizean people, right? And most likely, I think that they will flush it, right? Because they want to turn Belize into a republic. And lately, Leonard, we see the situation with the rock star, Mr. Bukele. You have with Prime Minister, the big up demand. We see our Commissioner of Police, the big up demand, right? Lately,
Why they not go over there go work for the man and
that's
done?
what I'm saying,
I
right?
mean, it's easy.
Then and the big up Bukele, right?
It not take too
So
much.
where that they try to tell you too, right? So all I'm
Whatever the
saying,
man
right?
they do, go over there and work for the man.
Right. And they talk about all the good things he do over there. And you hear about the compol, you hear the compol they talk about the mantle, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see and live all the bogus state of emergency, Leonard, that they inflicted in this country, past and present, right? And this last one is not going to be the last one. We'll have many more state of emergency in this country. And what's the result? Did we get any good result? I asked the Belizean people that, right? And for sure, it's not going to be the last one. We have heard the Prime Minister and his minion on what good the SOE has done and what will this new one do. We see the outcome of all the two bogus sanitarian, right? All paid for by the Belize taxpayers, right? Belizean taxpayers. We the people pay for that. Bogus. We see our justice system compromised, right? That's how I see it. I see our justice system compromised. There's only certain people in this country who get justice. If you poor and cannot afford a good attorney, you go to jail for a very long time too, right? You get convicted quickly. So the system is designed only for the rich, the powerful, and the politician, right? And it'll be worse when they turn Belize into a republic. Worse. We see our lands, immigration, vital statistics, social security, or government resources being used for political favors. We see who gets access and benefits from our resources, our natural resources, who is ours, that belongs to us Belizean. It's for us, right? But we see who gets it, and the hard time that a born Belizean has to when he go to get access for a piece of land, the lands department, or get access to immigration service or vital statistics service, right? We see the mayhem we go through. We see the bad state of our healthcare system, like we talk about all the time, this through our medium here. Leonard,
Mm-hmm.
look how much time a common damn CT scan take them years, decades. Where in the US, every state, every hospital, that's normal standard procedure equipment in a hospital. In this country, you see the mayhem we gone through just to get a CT scan. And at the end of the day, Leonard, the CT scan that we got, and we talk about it, is not total use. It's limited use, right? And don't, my people, don't forget the amount of money. Don't forget the amount of money the Belizean taxpayers pay for that CT scan, right? So sad, right? We are still in the dark ages, still 24th century, and we know, and our hospitals are not equipped. We mentioned the other day, no even band-aid. Remember when the lady come and they said they
Mm-hmm.
want the nurse to, you know what? You see the same bandage you are to take care. We take it off with care because we have to reuse it. Reuse,
Which will create an
because there is
infection,
none at
which
the
will cause an
KH
infection.
image, the biggest hospital, public hospital in this country. Isn't that a shame? And yet, Leonard, none of them come and talk about that. None of them took shame. None of them, right? Because, like I say, they do not care. They do not use our public hospitals. They could take the next flight out and go in other part of the world to gain service. While the regularly poor Belizean can't do it, they got to suffer the consequences, right? And on our failing economy, we talk about it. Look at the price of everything in this country. As to where now, even the farmers, them, they get smart and jack up the price every week. A pound of ginger now is, a pound of pepper now, Leonard, is $25 a pound, believe it or not.
You mean
$20 for
the
a
bell
pound of
pepper?
ginger.
The bell
Things that we
pepper?
grow in our backyard. This is what
Uh-huh.
this government resort us to. Can't blame the last government. We gotta blame this PUP government and many more other things. Planting, regular thing. My people, 75 cents for one planting. Lime,
It's not
50
a
cents
plantain, it's
per
not a
one.
banana.
Right? So, but yet these jackals and hyenas says that Belize, we have food security. You hear that, my guy, the agriculture minister, every time. Food security. I don't know. He must be missed the word fool for food, right? Because he's a damn fool, right? I always call him a fool because he is in my book, right? So poverty in this country is an all-time high. Unemployment, all-time high. And not to mention the gas price. Highest, the world, Belize have the highest gas price, Leonard, right? But yet, hear them talk about bringing down gasoline. Why? Because the prime minister is in the gasoline business.
Mm-hmm.
He wants, for who don't know, my people both at home and abroad. 90% of the gasoline stations, the petrol station is owned and serviced by this prime minister. Right? So how the hell you think he will lower gas? He will lose money if he do that. Right? You see what he did when he won, and he took away all the services that BTL was providing, and BTL is a people's company, taxpayers' company.
Belongs to
He
Belizean.
took all away the services that BTL was providing to the government, where they get their money. He took that away and took that to his company, Smart.
Mm-hmm.
For those who do not know, he gave Smart, his company, all the contracts, took it away from the people, from the taxpayers. So is that a good man?
The
Is that a
Constitution
good man?
speaks. The Constitution says that no minister or government official should be enriching
Use
themselves
his
on
office
public trial.
to enrich himself. Like I say, that man should have been
We have laws on the book against that.
investigated, charged, taken to court. And they tell you the same man to make the answer.
Where's our
That's a
police?
crime.
Where's our police officers them
Where that's what I'm
to do
saying,
their
right?
job?
Basic food items, at an all-time high. The vegetables, like I said, the pepper is $25 a pound. Plantain is 7. I talk for Belizean people, I know the talk about outside Ghana, right? This is where they go on right here in our country. And when our grain, that means corn, beans, and rice, be smuggled, Leonard, across the border, across the river, along with sugar, it's called contraband. The beef they go across the river, the water, across the Guatemala, the pork, the
Mm-hmm.
corn, the beans, the rice, and the sugar while we
Everything.
suffer here. And yet, the my guy say that the only way they will control that if they raise the price of sugar. That when control, that when curve contraband. Leonard, that's what that fool said publicly the other day in a meeting. He laugh on that, but I tell you, these guys are some very treacherous people, right? And then he got an economist. Remember that economist where
Uh-huh.
he got to go on Love FM and say, along with their line, his assignment. Oh yes, well, he this statistic say this and that statistic say that, and the only way that we encourage that thing that if we raise the
Raise the
price of
price.
sugar. That's what Nabali said too, right? Sad reality, my brother. The people in Don can't buy that pound of sugar where they are,
Uh,
but yet
can raise the price to solve
they
the
want to
problem.
raise the price, my brother, right? So he said that when curve
Could I
the
call the man name
contraband.
jackals, Mr. Wade?
Yes, yes.
You know,
And
some
the
people say I
policeman,
disrespect the man name or disrespect them position or their office.
the policeman by the checkpoint before they go and cross the river with all these items that I'm speaking about, my people. There's a checkpoint there. The
Uh,
policemen have these trucks line up, just waiting for them to get their little button on the power,
mm,
right? Which is illegal. So if I was a policeman there and then, those trucks would not have been allowed to cross my checkpoint, right? Should not. But
but,
that's the way they contraband,
but then
Leonard, all the
the
time.
big man up front will call and tell you,
Yes.
them by legal license we do it,
And
so let
and
them go. Like what I did the
yeah,
last
and
time.
and, and yet the policeman says, Leonard, the police high ups and say there's nothing they can do. They publicly want to welcome Gregory. Welcome my brother. Um
Good night, Mr.
you're in my
Chairman.
yeah, I nearly finished my little thing here, Greg, then we could you know so that is what going on, right? In terms of the contraband and what the agriculture minister says, and what they want to do again to us, Leonard and Greg, raise the price of sugar, right?
Can
So
stop the contraband of the sugar by raising the price on the
I
local
want to, yeah,
population.
as we all remember, there was $91 million that I don't know if they get all of it to build a state-of-the-art hospital in Belmopan. No one, no one truckload come yet, to start that. But at the end of the day, you hear that $91 million just missing, gone. And then they look for procure another $91 million, right? But that was done because
But
we
did
on this program beating the healthcare situation in this country and the hospitals.
they
That's why
use
the
any of the money?
Oregon,
Mr. Wade, did they use
yes,
any of the $90 for the hospital upfront, at least temporarily, to provide the emergency
yes.
tapes and and cutting the
But
things where the people in need. This medical
but
services
anyway,
right now.
no one groundbreaking yet for that, my people, right? And lately we are seeing an attack by the police, you know, on our civilians. Or they are shooting up the police stations now, Leonard. And these guys,
Yeah.
and they get brazen. Roaring Creek Police Station
I told him what was gonna
was
happen.
shut up.
So
The
I'm not
commissioner
surprised
of
when it's
police
happening.
house was shut up,
Hmm.
right? Not too a
Hmm.
week ago,
And it's
right,
gonna
in
get worse.
Belmopan, right? We see policemen are being murdered right there again in Rolling Creek, not too long ago. But yet, does this state of emergency help? Or does our government and the security forces have a grip on crime? They say they do. I leave that to you, right? And the killing, like I say, of uniformed police, right? Who is next? That's what I say. Who is next? Right? We see the SOEs pass. Does that help? See the legalization of weed, what the prime minister want to do, right? We
Wait,
see,
Mr. Weird, Mr. Weird.
uh-huh,
Um, do you know that the man used the exact words Romy Spitz was using when he said, remember when she commented about that particular subject, she said they want them to mellow out?
to mellow out,
Do you
yes.
know that is the exact word the Prime Minister
Yes,
used
yes,
to,
yes. Oh yeah, he
yesterday
used the
news,
same word, yeah.
yesterday
Mellow out,
news,
yeah.
saying that
Mellow out with the weed,
he
right?
want them to mellow out because the weed, all the weed does is mellow them out. But what's worse than the weed is the liquor.
Well,
So why don't the
let me
tourists
let me
go up and
finish up
stop
here
the
so I
people them
could
from
give you
selling
guys,
liquor?
yeah.
Just like when they
We,
try to stop the Prime Minister
we see the
and the
flushing
cabinet
of
from.
our constitution, you know,
These people are sick, man.
what they want to do with our constitution, right? So all I'm saying, we want the killing to stop, We want the gang to behave themselves. We want peace and calm in our country, That's what we the ask for, right? And we want to see the politician, right, and the people who we elect to protect and serve us do the right thing to our people and nation, right? And we want to see the bastardization of our constitution to stop, right? And we want to see all people be treated fairly, with dignity and respect. Not only because you got so much money or you got so much power or you the Mr. This, you related to Mr. This or you know Mr. That, they will treat you a certain way. No, we want all people to be treated fairly, right? I want, if Mr. Briseño commit a crime, I want his ass to be investigated, arrested, and charged, just the same way they will investigate and charge Rudy Wade if he commit a crime. Right? That's what I would like to see in this country, man. Right? And that's all I'm asking for. So guys, sorry for ranting, you know, and sorry my people, bear with me, but these things I gotta get off my chest because for me I talk about my people, my poor and less fortunate people who cannot speak out or for some reason afraid to speak out for victimization or whatever. I am not afraid to speak out because they can't do what they think they can do to me just like that. Not scared of none of them. Right? Back to you, there, Greg. I you know want you to have an input. So the
Thank you,
rest of the
Mr.
show will be
Chairman.
be for you guys, right? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I sit
Welcome.
quietly listening to you and what you were
I'm a very
saying.
passionate guy. Gregory. Once it comes to my people, Leonard, you know that, right? And my country, you know that.
Well, the
Thank you.
topic you are speaking about is well said because, as you are rightfully saying, most of the things that you are discussing is exactly what is happening in the real.
Exactly.
We look at the state of emergency. There is still not a gazetted copy. There is still not a published copy. We look at other things that is happening.
The chance
We
the
listen to
policeman and
what
attack, the chance the policeman and attack, the chanciness of the policeman to our people, which is uncalled
right.
for.
And it's funny.
Goes
You
on and
would
on
say
and on.
that because the leader of
That's
the opposition has
that's where
called out
the police state when I say
the
we are in a police
commissioner.
state, right? As you know.
Well,
Yes,
I'm
sorry
glad
about
you
that, Greg.
said
Go
that.
ahead.
I'm glad you said that, Mr. Chairman, because the leader of the opposition had called out the compel for being quiet.
Yeah.
But what he had
We
to
did too.
say,
We did on couple shows, right, Leonard and Greg? We did kind
yes,
of, say
I think
something.
we did.
Say something.
I think I think we did first.
Yes, we did.
But
I think
what
we did that
he
on
had
last Friday, I think.
what he had to say, I mean, man, let's hear it.
What do you see on that video?
I think that before we jump to conclusions, it is essential that we ascertain what actually transpired. And in this particular instance, the sergeant had reported off duty and was on his way home. On his way home, he was stopped by two minors who were extremely frantic and in fear, who complained to him that the same young man that you all saw in the video with him and about two other persons were chasing them with mace and firearm. He returned and went to see if he could apprehend these individuals. And he met the one who was seen with him in the video. And obviously the information is that he may be armed. The police would have to take out his weapon to secure his safety as well as the safety of others. And so in so doing, what we normally do if we have a suspect who is believed to be armed is that you would put him to kneel down or on the ground on his belly until you could ascertain that he is safe. And the sergeant attempted to do that, but while he was trying to put the person in either of those positions, the young man was resisting. He only had two hands, and so he was holding him with one hand, and he had the gun in the other hand, and so he tried to hit him with the other hand, but that's the hand that had the gun. No, I am not going to condone the issue of the pistol whipping, because the truth is the weapon could have gone off and the result could have been different. But we have to look at the situation in its totality. And those persons who did the video recording, they know exactly what happened. But as usual, they splice the video and just release what needs to be released. Now, the two minors and their parents had gone to the San Pedro police station and have lodged a complaint. But the young man now, as much as the public is here crying out for him, he escaped, because when the officer went after the other to try to apprehend the other, he escaped. And from then to now, he has not even resurfaced. He has gone in hiding. So if it is that you know that you are so innocent, you have done nothing wrong, and you believe that the police have abused you, then why can't you come forward and make a complaint and make your case? But he has not done that. So that just goes to show that he knows exactly what he did, and he intends to continue hiding from the law. Because people cry, well, the man innocent is this, that he's not an innocent person, and we have to be real.
So you're pronouncing guilt, sir. You are pronouncing guilt. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. You have now proven him guilty.
You and Shineborough have pronounced the officer guilty, both of you. So please don't try and play Pontius Pilate, because even when the police is right, in the eyes of Jules Vasquez, the police is wrong.
Sir, is this Sergeant Mackin your godson? And is your judgment on this issue impaired by the fact that he's a relation?
What does that have to do with the price of milk?
That has everything to do, sir.
Jules Vasquez, it has nothing to do with it.
Sir,
If you want to talk about the issue of relative, and again, you have to learn to stop being too argumentative and just see things from a negative standpoint. But that is your nature, and I forgive you, right? When we have the issue with Inspector Martinez, he's my first cousin, correct? Yeah. And what happened? My first cousin is more to me than a godson. And if I was able to move quickly on Inspector Martinez, who is my first cousin, then why would I not be able to do so with Mr. Mackin if it were that we were not looking at the thing holistically? I am not, Jules Vasquez, going to be the type who is going to jump on something because you or Shineborough wants us to do it. Professional Standard Branch is in the picture. They are investigating. Once the investigation is done, then we see how it goes from there.
Now, this gentleman, Ryan Christian Melendez, contrary to what you say, my understanding is that he went in and his injuries were classified as harm. And I believe Inspector Serrano, I'm told, was told to investigate.
There you are again, just focusing on the individual who assaulted or who allegedly assaulted 2 minors with a weapon. You forget totally the rights of those 2 minors. Imagine if those 2 children were your children and they were being chased by an individual with gun and mask. Would your reaction be the same?
Clearly, he was not found with a gun.
It doesn't matter, Mr. Vasquez. The question to you is, would your reaction have been the same? I am sure not.
But that is not an issue. You already told us one lie in saying you can't find the body. Now you're accepting that, yes, it did come in for harm. That is a mistruth, sir.
Who tell you the man come in for harm?
I'm asking you.
You said that.
Well, how do I have his name?
Jules,
I have the man's full name,
are the
Ryan
media.
Christian
You
Melendez,
are the media. The same way how
co-worker of San Mateo.
Vasquez, the same way how Brady Tillett contact you and give you interview despite being one of Belize's 5 most wanted, and you entertained him. That is you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't even want to go any further because they always do what?
Tell on
They
themselves, my
always-
brother. Go ahead, Leonard. Go ahead. Comment on that.
Mr. Wade, I'd rather not. I think I commented enough on that particular video. And what I said stands the same yesterday, today. And I guess there's nothing that those knuckleheads can
Greg.
tell me to convince my eyes from
Greg.
believing what I see.
And Leonard, right? We went through, on the last show. This had brought up, and Leonard and Greg, remember I said that you say the next time that they come and try to justify, and this is exactly what will happen, right? So you see what happened yesterday, I think, Ray, right? Yesterday.
No,
They just came.
no, it happened a while back because we had
No,
brought it up
that
on the show.
no, that happened, I think, over the weekend, I think, but they're just commenting on it now. Was yesterday, right? When we already commented on that, but I have already said that what you will hear from the powers to be is they will try to justify the action of the police. That's what I said, right? Same thing I said, same thing happened. You see what comes out of the mouth of the commissioner of police, right?
He stood right up there
not
and
the
he
first
lied
time.
on his own self 2 times in a row.
And he mentioned
he
mentioned the thing with Shineborough, what he said. Shineborough had a press conference yesterday too, and then he said what he said and totally dismiss or totally, disregard what he should have talked about, right? So, if you want to pay that interview to Greg with Shineborough, it's right on that same item,
Mr. Chairman, I don't think the interview with Shine is necessary. But because we here in Belizean Affair has been going over all these things, especially about constitutional rights.
Exactly.
My cousin, who speaks on that every Friday, you heard me on Monday speaking about it's time to defund the police.
Yeah.
People in Belize need to stop going to PSB and start taking civil action against these individuals. Because nothing will come out of it when you go to PSB. And I am glad, Mr. Chairman, that there are still some good attorneys who will stand up pro bono for individuals whose rights has been violated. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I want you to hear one of those such attorneys. And the incident that took place cannot compare to what this police sergeant did.
This claim stems from an incident that happened at the Belize Municipal Airport. I believe about 2 years ago, and it involved an encounter between two police officers and Shamar, who is the claimant, that resulted in, at least what we say, that resulted in Shamar being searched and being struck, hit on his arm, whilst he was attempting to record the search of his person. Following this incident, we also made a complaint before the Professional Standard Branch against the officers for the violations of the rights of Shamar Foster. We were not able to really settle or get this issue addressed, and so Shamar decided to file a constitutional claim for breaches of rights, for his constitutional rights, specifically the right against arbitrary search, the right to freedom of expression, and the right to protection of the law. So those are the three rights that we say were breached in the context of both the incident at the airport as well as the disciplinary process.
We
I
have said this
am so
on
glad.
more than one occasion. Whenever your civil liberties have been violated, seek judicial review or civil action. Here we have an attorney specifying the same thing that we are saying. Mr. Chairman, I would like to say this, and I know my good cousin will also piggyback on it. The state of emergency, sir, that we have not seen a written copy of the proclamation signed, although we understand it was signed and not gazetted. I'm saying this to say because of what was played on Monday, and we heard what the composer said about violation of these young men's constitutional rights. The reason I want to see it is because my good cousin and many learned people who sit on the bar and are familiar with state laws knows how substantive laws are passed in the House. And I'm quite aware that you had Mr. Frank, you had a young man who was taken to court under being a member of a gang. He was granted bail and immediately after was picked up under the state of emergency. I would want to see where in the proclamation it gives the commissioner of police who verbally said that if the court released them, he would pick them up anyway. I want to see where in the proclamation that was passed as a law that the commissioner has the right to pick these young men up, even though under being a member of a gang in the court and was given bail, was still picked up under the state of emergency. I can guarantee you it is unconstitutional and a violation of these young men's rights. Outright. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Greg. Go ahead, Leonard.
Thank you very much, sir. And well stated as well observed, Greg, that is that these knucklehead jackals are actually acting as a rogue cabal of mobsters, okay? They're not acting as good law officials. They're not acting as constitutional and empowered authority. They're arbitrarily and capriciously violating the Constitution, all because they believe that they can do so with impunity, that no one can bring them or hold them to account, at least on a personal level. That is that if any of them were to be sued, they will just dip into the pocket of the government coffers and settle whatever settlement they have to make in order for some of them not to go to jail. But in the meanwhile, as we saw with that young man that was beaten down and pistol whipped, they wouldn't like to have none of their family members being treated like that. But for they themselves to be treated like that by anybody. But the commissioner here is going to come out here and try to tell us that what we saw isn't really what happened. Our eyes are fooling us because we are paying attention to what Julius is saying and what Julius is reporting. But it is Julius that is at fault for those things happening out on the street. I want to say it in a different way, but I'm trying to like make sure I stay within the bounds of decency. You know, I don't know. I'd rather just leave it alone, Mr. Chairman. I'd rather just leave it alone.
Go ahead, Greg.
Down the pipe that these guys are going to have to face, and I will be one of those sitting on the side with my popcorn, laughing at their butt. Okay, because they don't seem to listen, they don't learn, and they just want to do what they want to do. So therefore, the only alternative is for them to suffer the consequences on a personal level of the crimes that they commit under the color of law. I'll point out something right here and now. In a few months' time, when you have our personnel coming back from Haiti, those personnel were trained in tactics of suppressing gangs and wayward individuals. And that same mindset that they have to do those kind of actions to survive what they're dealing with right now in Haiti, they're going to bring back and import into the police force in Belize. So all the training that they were supposed to get in Belize in terms of constitutional knowledge of what the law is, how they're supposed to conduct themselves, all of that is going to go out the window. And believe me, we are not too far from becoming a Haiti. Okay? Because why Haiti is the way it is because the previous managers of that country were brutalizing its population. And government after government after government was subjecting those people to outright criminal conduct. Why? Because they had the forces on their side. They had the military, the police, all different kind of groups. And they overwhelmed the population and the people to the point that the people then start rebelling. The young men then start rebelling. They start taking them and putting them in jail. When they come out of jail, then recruit more new people. And it got to the point where they become so powerful that even the government couldn't handle them, to the point where now they're asking for Belize and what's the name of the country in Africa that was leading the group, Kenya, and many other countries to come to the rescue of the government and to put a government and install a government there and support a government that is contrary to the wishes and of the people. Why they say it's gang control? It's because the gangs have taken over the control from the government because of what the government was doing. They lost confidence, the people lost confidence in them. Why didn't they allow the gangs them to vote among themselves to see who they want to be as a local leader of their country? They could have just as well done that, or am I wrong?
I tell you,
they want to pretend that they are trying to save the people from the people. The people need to be saved from them. And I'm saying to you right here and now, like I said just now, the same crap that those guys are dealing with right now over there, they're going to come back as hardened with the experience that they have to get and the training that they have to get in order to survive that environment. They're going to come back as hardened
Yep.
criminals themselves under the color of law. And I wouldn't be surprised that at some future date in the near future, we country have what you call a military or civilian overthrow of we government. That's what these guys are bequeathing to us. That's what they're setting us up for. So that when that happens, Guatemala would be justified to walk in and say they're coming to the rescue of the people. And at that time, they're talking about their own people who have already outnumbered us local Belizean and outpopulate us, and then they would have the control of voting who they want. And when the upheaval starts, the Southern Command is not going to allow it to get like what happened in Haiti. They're going to put their foot down, and they're going to march in, and the oppression and suppression will start all over again. But I'll leave it at that for right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard.
Go
ahead, Greg.
So I can
You want
tell you
one?
guys again. Remember, I told you so.
Go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I heard what you said, my good cousin, but I believe it has to do with more than that, because you have to listen to when these people speak and what they say. If they don't get their way, they turn it against the good folks on the south side, and they want to claim it as an issue. But we should know better, because when you as a government have a super majority, with the stroke of a pen you can create any law to curb crime. But
That's
you
what I
as
think.
government is failing, and you have been failing enormously, past and present. You have failed at external policies, you're failing at internal policies. And one of the greatest ones, you cannot bring peace and harmony in the community. And the reason for that is because as government, you are so into big time enterprises, you are not trying to get with private sectors and create jobs that would curb crime. So every year when we have a graduation, more kids or teenagers are going out there in the streets, and you're not asking yourself, what are the long-term jobs that we have created? As you can see, anyone can see at home and abroad, you are now piggybacking on the BPO, that they're trying to call it a career now. You know, it is crazy. But let's hear what the PM had to say.
Why is it that we have a lot of these shooting right now among these young men? Supposedly it's because about turf, about where they're selling their drugs, the marijuana. If we had legalized marijuana, a lot of that would have been taken away from them, out of their hands, because then it's going to be legal. Sometimes you need to use the state of emergency almost like a timeout. Now this time you say, well, why 90 days? You need 90 days for several reasons, but the most important one is that it gives the police more time to investigate some of the murders that have taken place. Secondly, it gives more time to the people with mediation to be able to talk to them and try to calm them down, trying to see if we could find some kind of peace amongst them. Society is paying for not giving the proper attention to these young men when they were kids.
Mr. Chairman, I see that as a ludicrous statement. Society is paying because as government, you are not playing your role. You have not aided the population and people of Belize. You are trying to X out the people in the diaspora of their voting rights, which is constitutionally enshrined. And now You are adding on more to make the people become minorities. You are looking forward now to import migrant workers, to put the things that are happening at this moment, they will get more drastic as foreigners come and take over more work and jobs from these people. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Leonard. You said it. You play that
I,
last tip there with the Prime Minister, right? And need not I remind the public, right, that this same Prime Minister here came the other day and says that we have problem to find laborers. We have to import laborers.
uh, Mr.
People
Chairman,
don't want to
Mr.
work.
Chairman, before
Um,
before we tackle that particular part, can I go back
yeah, go
to
ahead.
something that we were discussing just now?
Yes.
I just want to read from the Constitution here again,
Okay.
Section 20,
Go ahead.
subsection 1 reads as follows: if any person alleges that any of the provisions of Section 3 to 19 inclusive of this Constitution has been, is being, or is likely to be contravened in relations to his, or in the case of a person who is detained, as in the case of the young man that we just saw on the tape, if any other person alleges such a contravention in relation to the detained person, then, without prejudice to any other action with respect to the same matter which is lawfully available, that person or that other person may apply to the Supreme Court for redress, which is what my cousin stipulated
Yeah.
earlier when I
Thank
pointed
you.
it out and I said to him,
Oh,
well
thank you.
observed and properly stipulated.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's what the Constitution says about that particular.
Thank you.
Subject to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction to hear and determine any application made by any person in pursuance of subsection 1 of this section, and to determine any question arising in the case of any person which is referred to in pursuance of subsection 3 of this section. For example, if any proceedings in any court other than the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court or a court martial, any question arises as to contravention of any of the provisions of Section 3 through 19, which is the or inalienable rights, inclusive of this Constitution, the person presenting in that court may and shall, if any party to the proceedings so requests, such as the young man, refer the question to the Supreme Court, unless, in his opinion, the raising of this question is merely frivolous or vexatious. That is, that they're just making a false accusation.
Yes,
But
thank
these
you.
jackals and hyenas that we have operating as all our men are
Yes,
behaving
thank
like
you,
rogue
Leonard.
cops.
Yeah.
They're pretending that they're acting a movie,
Yeah.
and that after this movie, they're going to go home and get an Oscar
Yes.
for the part that they play and how they
Yeah.
played their part. When in fact they're brutalizing, causing harm and maim to people,
Yeah.
and the commissioner is going to come out and make excuse for them. The prime minister
Justification.
is
Yeah.
going to come out and make excuse for them. They're all accountable. They all need to be brought on the carpet because they're all collecting a salary to do a job that they promised to do and are failing miserably. I'll leave it at that for right now, sir.
Thank you. Lastly, on that last tip you played there, Greg, let me remind you, right, that this is the same Prime Minister came and talking about labor shortage and employers have a hard time finding employees to work in this country, and that's why they have to import these people.
Lie.
And he failed to realize that who has these jobs right now in this country is the BPOs, and he failed to realize that you know uh, the thousands of graduates every year in this country, right? Thousands of graduates every year, and where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? But yet no, the audacity and hypocrisy of these people, right? He come and say that the labor, the business places we want to hire can't find people for work, and I just saw today. I think I showed you one, and Greg, that this lady is looking for work, and many people are looking, but he is saying that you know um we cannot find laborers here in Belize. We cannot find work people here in Belize, so we have to bring them in. And this man went on national TV to the country and the world saying that's the reason why that gave him that mandate to migrate people into this country so they could work. So I beg through this medium and I beg to this man, I say, Mr. Prime Minister, please man, what happened to all these college graduate man? Right? My daughter, I want to graduate the other day. Can't find job in this country. And I'm a lawyer here, 2 years, still can't find one job. Right? So, and you say that a lot of job in this country that come from our own venomous mouth, You can't find job in this country. That's why
Sorry.
we have to bring in job from Guatemala, Salvador, Honduras, and all the other part of this world who can work the Belize because we can't find it come from you, Mr. Man. Not you shame yourself and saying that,
May I piggyback on your foot, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
What the Prime Minister is stipulating when he makes that kind of statement, and any other minister, or any other person, or even any other Belizean, for a matter of fact, when they make that kind of statement, because a lot of people around the place, they try to justify what the Prime Minister is saying and do by making that kind of statement. That is that the other people in come in and in work. They fail to understand the overall objective of bringing in those people is to outnumber us and to take over the country without firing a bullet. As the Guatemalans have written in the Constitution, Belize belongs to them and they will get it by reason or by force.
Thank you.
The reason that they are talking about is one of bringing in population and outnumber full population because they have over 9 million.
5 more minutes, gentlemen. Go ahead. Take two, Leonard.
They have over 9 million people and we have less than 500,000. So they could always flood out for we country, bring in all the people when they want, including the Salvadorians them who have 7 million people in their country and the Honduranians who have 6 million people in their country. When you add that 15 million from Guatemala, the 7 million from the Salvadorians them, that's how much you have? 22 million, right? And you add the other 6 million Honduranians them. How much you have altogether? 28 million people, right? And then you have a few Mexicans, because the Mexicans, they don't come to take over Belize or to claim Belize as part of their heritage or anything. They have a lot of Mexican people living in Belize for hundreds of years now. So there's a relation going back and forward over the border, and they have always been amiable with us. Not threatening. As a matter of fact, they have acted as a big brother to we country.
Thank you.
And I've always been looking out for our well-being. But the Prime Minister is not telling the truth when he says that he has to bring in people to work because we don't have people to work in the country.
I never tell the truth, Leonard. He never tells the truth. So,
he's actually stipulating and hiding behind the fact that he's bringing in those people contrary to the Constitution and the laws of the country and the well-being of the country, of the people that are being marginalized in the country and who deserve better than what he is doing, because he is doing a job on behalf of foreign interests.
Foreign interests, yeah.
The first thing he did when he got elected was run over to Guatemala, go and sit down and celebrate his victory over there. He's beholden.
Thank you.
But anyhow, I'll leave it at that. Because
thank you. Greg, you have 2 minutes there, Greg. Out of what left? Take 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
my good cousin, as I said before, these people always tell on themselves. You don't have to go back to here again. You can just listen. Mr. Chairman mentioned earlier about the sugar, how they want to raise the price to stop it from go across the border.
Yeah.
And the insight of that was a good professor. But let me say this to you.
All that was bogus.
That is not why they want to raise the price. If they raise the price, you know what will happen? The underprivileged will not have the money to buy it. So it will be on the shelf, and it will make them look as though we have sugar in abundance, when It is vice versa. The people will not be able to buy it. When you look at what the Prime Minister said, it's the same professor, the economist who said, you know what, it means the economy is strong, so you have to bring in migrant workers if you don't have the workers. So they are telling on themselves.
There are a couple of
They have
monsters.
brought these things up and they are following up on exactly what they're doing.
But the
Listen
people
to
keep
him
voting him
again.
in again.
Listen to him again, along with the comfort. The reason why we need 90 days is for the police to investigate these young men and to see what they can
Yeah.
do. So we need the 90 days so they can investigate. Listen to the comfort. To investigate these gentlemen, we need 3 to 6 months to get
Yeah.
all the information so the court can find them guilty. So what
They're
happened to
contradicting
the
themselves.
constitutional right that says in 7 days you must, in writing, tell them what they are charged for, and they must go before a judge or a tribunal.
And in order to
So
go
you
before a
are
judge,
not.
they have to be given the privilege to have a
So
lawyer.
you are telling on yourself because you are showing
Because
blatant
they're lying.
disrespect for the Constitution and what it stands for. Mr. Chairman, I
Thank
turn
you.
it back to you with that.
Thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure. It's 1 minute I
Nice show,
have.
sir. Nice show.
It's
Nice
always a
show, Mr.
pleasure
Chairman. Nice show,
to
Greg.
sit in your company, Gregory and Leonard. Always miss Miss Spitz tonight. I know
I
you
sent the
must be
thing out.
busy.
I
You
sent the
know,
invitation out.
but it's always a pleasure to have her with us too when she's available. And I just hope that our program tonight would.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead,
Mr.
Greg.
Chairman, if I may, just before you close to bring back reality to the people at home and abroad, when our co-host Ms. Pitt was sitting on this show and we went over the past state of emergency and we proved how unconstitutional it was. You see
Sure did.
now when they took out, no judges can make any decision on it. And they even went as to bar Section 20, which is for judicial review. You are seeing it happening now, Mr. Chairman. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Like I say, guys, I just hope that our program, shed some light and enlighten those who need to be enlightened, and who appreciate the info that we put out there. And again, I mentioned the Constitution. I urge Belizeans, to get a copy of the Constitution, of their rights. That's the law of this land, not the law of the PUP or law of the UDP. Law of the land, right? The laws of this land. Get one. It's like under $40. Please get one. But it's always a pleasure to be in your company, Greg and Leonard. I want to say good night to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad. Please tune in to us on our uh, Friday night edition, where Mr. Leonard Brackett will, talk the Constitution talk. You know, um, we look forward to your company. And on that note, I want to say good night. Good night, guys. And
Good
Good night,
night,
sir.
thanks to
sir.
our
Good
viewers
night.
and
Good
listeners.
night.
Nice program.
Good night. Thanks to those who